Hi, welcome to Mathematics Beyond the Classroom at Misericordia University, where we try to show you examples of math that are not typically seen in high school. Today, what I want to show you is some examples of how mathematics plays a role in card games and card tricks especially. And the particular math I want to talk about today is the mathematical placement, both how a card can be placed next to something else to give you extra information, or how a card can be placed in the deck, which also gives you extra information in helping do a card trick. The first card trick I'd like to show you is the one that I often think of as a typical father or uncle or someone in the family, an older, usually older gentleman in the family who likes to show card tricks, or knows how to do. And I'm doing this by myself, so we're going to pretend that I have an assistant. And the way this usually goes is you're told, hey, pick a card, any card. So let's suppose we pick that card. And then the person looks at the card, and then puts it back on the top of the deck. Hopefully you're paying attention to the card. Now I, as the magician, cut the deck, and then offer to cut the deck as many times as you want. So suppose we cut it once, cut it up high, cut it in the middle, etc., etc. I now start looking through the deck, and when I look through the deck, I'm looking, saying, okay, I'm going to check to see if there's some card here that feels like it's you. Since you touch this card, I can sense you on this. I'm looking for fingerprints, something along those lines. And when you do, oftentimes you put it and you cut the deck and put it back in the upside down. And now comes the magic. I say, okay, I'm going to draw your card to the top of the deck. I'm going to do is just put my hand here and cover it so you can't see what I'm doing. And I've managed to pull your card to the top. And if I've done this right, then this is your card. So the question is, how does mathematics play a role in that particular trick? What we're going to do is I'm going to use a very obvious card that you've drawn. Let's suppose you've drawn the black joker. And I'm going to use it obvious. I'm going to make it extra obvious by putting it right on the top, face up, so we can always see where it goes. Now, my first step is I'm going to cut the deck. It doesn't really matter where I cut it. As I put these cards on top, notice what I'm putting together. I'm putting together the card you drew along with this card that was originally, before I cut it, on the bottom of the deck. So the one on the bottom gets sit on top. So as long as I know what card was on the bottom, then I'm automatically going to know which card is next to the one you drew. As I now cut the deck, that doesn't change. Those two cards stay right next to each other. The only time that may not be the case is if I'm lucky enough to happen to cut it where it separates the two. But then notice, once again, the card I know of is on the bottom and your card is on the top. And so I still know where the other card is, even if they happen to not be together. So when I flip the cards over, the rules have changed. I'm now looking for the card in front of the one I know. So the card in front I know is Ace of Spades. The card directly in front of it is going to be therefore the one that the other person drew. So all I have to do is either do this and then say, oh, well, I'm going to now read your mind. I've seen that done. Or just cut it so that the card you knew at the bottom was back at the bottom. And that then gets you this one. I've also seen it where people have cut it so, say you know the person's name, and so let's say your name is Steve, because that happens to be my name, and you put the 5 cards. You say, okay, I'm going to spell out your name, S-T-E-V-E, and then the next card is the one that they drew. So you can have lots of fun with showing this, just knowing how one card sits next to the other gives you all the information you could possibly use. The next trick I'd like to show you is called the 4 Kings trick. It's not often known, but the kings in addition to being in charge of their kingdoms and taking care of daily problems, like to go out on the weekends and have a little fun. Of course, what they think of little fun is going and robbing a bank. So let me show you how they go about and rob the bank. The 4 kings, they all get together and they hop in a helicopter and they fly the helicopter until it lands on top of the bank. They each have a specific part of the bank that they're supposed to go to. So the first king goes down towards the bottom of the bank. His job is to turn off the alarm and to go into the vault and get any of the things from out of the vault. The next king, his job is to go into the lobby. So he goes about halfway up into the lobby of the bank. His job is to get the money from the tellers and collect any money from people that happen to be visiting the bank. The next king, his job is to head up into the office space because that's where they keep the big supplies. That's where they keep the big fancy jewelry and stuff like those safe deposit boxes. The last king, he's got the most important job. His job is to watch to make sure nothing goes wrong. And if cops start approaching the bank, his job is to make sure the other kings get out safe. So on this one particular trip, something occurred that they didn't expect. And this top king noticed that there were cops coming and he could hear the alarm. And so what he did was he gave their secret code, and their secret code went, I know, it's not that secret, but all the kings heard that, and they know exactly what that meant, that they needed to come up to the top of the roof so they could get back in the helicopter. So in the blink of an eye, each of the kings made it up to the top of the roof so that they could all get on the helicopter and fly away before the cops get there and never get caught in robbing the bank. So how does this trick make these 4 cards appear to go from the middle of the deck and rise to the top? It's all a matter of that mathematics of position again. When you start off the trick, it looks like this. It looks like there's 4 kings, and it looks like the 4 kings get placed in spots going from top down, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, that's not what really happens. What really happens, and though it's hard to see, is there's an actual 3 additional cards that are sitting on the bottom of the pile of the kings. So now you've got your 4 kings plus 3 additional cards. So when these cards get flipped over, this is position 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if I stack all of these together under the king and hold it, and you're real careful about how you hold it, you don't even see the difference. It still looks like there's just 4 cards here. So when you close it up, put it under, the first card that goes to the bottom of the deck is something other than a king. The second card, and then the third card that goes in the middle of the deck. The fourth card was a king, so it was easy to flip that over and see. But right under them, the next 3 cards are the original next 3 kings that were there all along. And that's how the mathematics helps you solve or do the 4 kings or the 4 thieves trick. I hope you enjoyed this video, introducing a little bit of mathematics behind some card games. There will be more. Expect to see more interesting math problems. If you have questions about anything raised here or anything on the website, please reach out and ask one of the faculty at Misericordia University. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again.